So, Batman, that's kind of an awesome role to land. How did this come about?
I was sent out on it, and out of a huge pool of people, they narrowed it down. They brought me and JB in finally for a casting for me and him to just kind of be locked in a room and hear us do scenes together, and it just worked out. I was lucky enough to land the role. I remember when I came home, I have a 3-year-old boy, and I said, I'm Batman. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm Batman. And I go, no, I'm the voice of Batman. He goes, yeah, I'm Batman. So it just goes to show how intense the Batman universe is.
Yeah, I think you gotta let your kid be Batman when he's that insistent.
You have to let your kid be Batman.
Wise advice. So this is obviously a new take on Batman because you constantly have to put a fresh take on it to keep the viewership. How is this different?
It's different in the sense that we're still honoring what came before and, what else is out there in the Batman universe. We're just kind of like looking at a slice of it. We're looking at Batman in his 30s. We're looking at a rogues gallery of villains that haven't been animated before, which is really interesting. So people like Magpie and Professor Pig and Toad and Anarchy. And this will be the first time that Batman is actually meeting these villains. So you get to kind of see the history of how his connection to these bad guys and how it all started. It's before Robin. Batman's still a bit green, like he's still figuring out how to juxtapose, and how to work the synergy between Bruce Wayne and Batman, and he's grappling with that. So in that regard, that's our new take on it. But everything else is the Batman that you know and love.
And his temperament is pretty broody most of the time. How is this Batman? How does he feel about the world?
He's, I think, a little less jaded, a little less gruff. He's still willing to admit that he made mistakes. He has, there's 3 personalities that we play with. We play with the public Bruce Wayne, who's the playboy billionaire, who kind of puts on that show for everyone. And then we've got the more private Bruce Wayne, who's introspective. And then we've got Batman, who's the protector of the city. So we play with those 3. As far as him brooding, I think you've just got you've got the human condition kind of playing with the yin and yang, how much time he spends as Batman, how much time he spends as Bruce Wayne. The two are interlocked. It's like he's in this amazing Rubik's Cube. So it's less about brooding and more about, a human being coming to terms with who he is.
Okay, and is it a fun challenge for you to play kind of those 3 different sides of Batman? How did you find each voice?
Yeah, I just focused, as I said, I focused less on what they sound like and just more what that human being is trying to accomplish, right? So you've got the Batman voice as a detective, as this incredibly sharp mind that's thinking 5 steps ahead of everyone else, using his deductive reasoning and his education, somebody who's pushing their physical limits constantly. He's like finding out how much sleep he actually needs and taking away an hour each night so that he can stay on the streets longer. You've got this person in Batman who doesn't want anyone to experience the pain that he experienced as a kid. So I just focused mostly on those elements, and then the voice came from that, as opposed to sitting there looking in the mirror or putting on headphones and going, I'm going to play with this,
Yeah, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. So Alfred, since they're a little younger, they have a different relationship. What's the dynamic like between those two and Beware the Batman?
Alfred is ex-MI6 in this one, so and he's a bit younger, but you still see him kind of plotting ahead and looking for his replacement. At some time, he won't be there to take care of Bruce Wayne. So Alfred still is the father figure, still is his butler, still is his kind of his Yoda. You know what I'm saying? But he's got a bit of kick-ass to him. So, like in the pilot, he's testing him. He attacks him, and they go through some moves, some Krav Maga stuff, but he's pissed at Bruce because it took him 5 moves instead of 3 to subdue him. So you start to see Alfred pushing Bruce Wayne and Batman in ways, not just over coffee, in the morning in the paper, kind of giving him these little pieces of sage advice. It's a little bit more involved.
Very cool. And what's it like to record with everybody?
It's awesome. I love doing it, and we have the best guest cast. I mean, Matthew Lillard and Tara Strong. We've had some incredible people come through, and I'm new to the animation world, so it fits right in with how I feel, like just having a cast of actors all around, and you're able to bounce off of each other and kind of work on beats and moments and stuff. And the producers, Glenn and Mitch, are awesome with it, and Andrea, they're the best working in the field today. So